Now, when I got the medal, let me tell you, I felt like lightning bolts came down. It was like, ah! And that was it. I was off and running after that. It became a collection of the bling, the medals.
Menopause has long been shrouded in secrecy, leaving many clueless, ashamed, and embarrassed to seek and extend support for one of the most natural transitions and rite of passage. Well, the spirit and mood have changed. People are surrendering to curiosity, knowledge, and empowerment. In this podcast, I'll share my own experiences and point of view, peek into the lifestyle and self-care practices of people experiencing menopause, and tap experts for their take on the menopausal phase. This is for you if you are one of the millions of people in the menopausal phase or want to support them. I'm Dixie Lincoln Nichols, health and well-being educator and wellness founder. This is the Pause Pod. Welcome back to another episode. Today, I'm super excited for my guest, Regina Fleming, who is transforming the minds of women over 40 to fall in love with themselves and their bodies through her lifestyle company, RF Woman. She's a certified holistic health coach, certified personal, group, and women's fitness trainer, as well as a certified RRCA running coach and behavioral change specialist. Regina is an Abbott 6-star world marathon finisher and recently was entered into the Guinness World Book for her marathon accomplishments. Her mantra, how you do one thing is how you do everything. She's also the owner of Regina Fleming Photography in New York City and a 9-time award-winning photographer branding women, events, and commercial photography. Regina resides between New York and Miami with her new puppy, Lady Lola Rose. Regina, welcome. Thank you so much for being on the Pause Pod.
I've been waiting for this day. It has taken so long, and I'm finally here. We're
Yes,
going to
yes.
help these women see like how they can feel better, have more energy, all the things.
Good. I love it. That's what I'm here for, to bring people content that's going to inspire and empower them. So, Regina, you recently received an amazing award. You are an Abbott 6-star world marathon finisher and recently was entered into the Guinness World Book for your marathon accomplishment. Your mantra is, how you do one thing is how you do everything. Talk to us a bit more
Exactly.
about your backstory and tell us how you got to be a Guinness World Record holder.
Yes. I'm going to just start with something that I was doing years ago. I felt like I had a very wonderful and blessed life. And I hit a point where I felt a little bored with doing the same old, same old. So one year I decided every season that I would do something different. So whether that was taking a cooking class or that was taking a language class, advanced photography. So every season I wanted to do something different. So one day I was with a girlfriend and I was looking through a magazine and I saw Shape magazine and I saw women running in a race in Central Park. And I was like, whoa, they're wearing my favorite color, pink. And I said, and the women looked like they were having fun. So I said, hey, to my friend, I'm going to sign up for this. I had no idea. Well, I did exercise. I was never a runner. In my head, I thought like, wow, if I would have been a runner, I would have been like Flojo kind of person, speed, because I always admired these women in the Olympics. But I was not a runner. And I signed up for it and then kind of forgot about it. And then 10 days before this race, I decided to look it up on my email because I forgot about it. I was like, where's that race? So when I go and I look up the race, it says it's in 10 days. But it also said that this race was a half marathon. Now, do you know how many miles a half marathon is?
No, I have no idea. Tell me.
Neither did I. It's 13.1 miles. Now, I'm a New Yorker. I can drive. I have my license, but I don't drive. So 13 miles, I had no idea what 13 miles was. But I know that if somebody gave me $13, that's nothing. So I equated that to being nothing. And when I Googled further, it said it was a half marathon, 13.1. And then the next line said, how to train for a half marathon. I said, wait, I have to train for this? I was like, oh my gosh. So I called my nephew, who was a long distance track star in high school, and he said, you have to buy sneakers. So my sneakers were like 20 years old. And let me just say this for the record, I was a woman of a certain age, okay, when I decided to do this endeavor. So I went to the store, purchased these sneakers, came home, and put together from the internet, my best friend, I put together all of the plans so that I could finish this race. And I knew nothing. I mean, nothing. I think about it now and I'm laughing it to myself because I was so naive. Now, those listening, just hear my story and listen to the moral of the story, but don't follow my lead and don't get up out of bed and try and do this race. You do need to train, okay? So you prevent injuries, etc. So I did. I ran on the treadmill in my building with my schedule, my training schedule for 9 days. And on the 10th day, I went to Central Park and I ran this half marathon. I was so naive. I didn't even know that you could stop running. I thought you had to run the whole time. And then I saw people walking. I was like, wow, you can walk? It was like, but I'm telling you, all that energy I think that came with it was that it was excited energy and it just kept me going. And when I got to like the point one, I got to that little bit is when I felt like, oh my God, like, oof, like it was a lot. And just as I was feeling like, oof, and I could see the finish line, one of my girlfriends who came looked up on the sidelines and she saw me and started screaming my name. And that pushed me through the point one to the end of the race. I was so new to this, I didn't realize. I thought like you meet up with your friends and you go home. But then I started seeing people with bags and with medals. And someone said to me, oh, you have to go over there and get your medal. I was like, wait, I get a medal? Now, when I got the medal, let me tell you, I felt like lightning bolts came down. It was like, ah! And that was it. I was off and running after that. It became a collection of the bling, the medals, the medals, the medals. So along this journey, I would meet women. I would post my runnings. I would post when I finished. I would post information, and women started asking me, how do I do this? What do I do? So I was repping the women in the 50s, but my women in their 40s were like, what about us? Right. And now it's women in their 30s. What about us? But I'm going to stand for my women 40 and over, um, perimenopausal to menopausal, and some post, menopausal women. I'm repping for us. That's what I'm repping for. But what I talk to people about, for most part, anyone can apply to their lives. And that's how my company, my lifestyle company, RF Woman, was born, from all the women coming to me asking me, how do I change my life? And they're looking for transformations. And I always say that I help women look good and feel fabulous. And I help women fall in love with themselves again and with their bodies. Because we know menopausal, your body changes, right? I try to find ways that we can make it better.
I love that. Thank you so much for sharing. I mean, one race led to a Guinness World Book
Close.
record. But let's go back to when you started running. Were you already in the menopausal stage? Well, I'm sure you were, but which stage? Was it perimenopause or were you in postmenopause? And how did running impact your menopausal experience?
It was past the perimenopausal stage. And what running did was allow, which I tell everyone, a lot of people, they get brain fog, right? They kind of get a depression. Running allows you to quiet your mind, and that's number one. Resetting your mindset. That's what running does. You can focus on the person in front of you, or you could just focus on nothing, but just let your mind just come to an easy place that you can just relax your mind with. The other thing was that I hear, like, I always go, which I recommend ladies to have bone density tests done. right? I want to make sure my bone density is where it's supposed to be. And we know that when you lose estrogen, your bone density starts to change. And nobody wants weak bones. You don't want to be fragile. You don't want to be bent over. And running allows you to have stronger bones. And I would say the other thing that happened was you and I had this conversation about weight gain in the midsection and how people call it like menopausal weight or what have you. But it is true, Dixie. It's true. Women
It
start
is true.
gaining
Yes, it
weight right
happens.
around the center. That's my number one. That's the number one reason women talk to me, right? They're
Right.
like, my stomach, my abdomen, right? And I say running helps you with your weight control. It helps you with the midsection. I don't care how you start off. If you start off walking fast, just walking, then walking faster, then a walk jog, then a jog, then a jog run, then a run. And if you are consistent, which we will talk about later on, you're going to see a change in that area. You really are going to start to see a change in that area. So the benefits of running, and when I was running, it had nothing to do with menopause. It only had to do with me doing something different. That was the first, when I initially started running. My mantra is how you do one thing is how you do everything. Then the same goal setting, the same energy, the same, resilience, consistency, determination, commitment that I had for running started to affect every area of my life. And that's why I say that how you do one thing is how you do everything. Because if I'm going to skip out on a day of training, what else am I skipping out on? But when you start seeing changes, you start feeling better. How many people wake up and they get out of bed and they're like, oh my God, my body is creaking, they're groggy, they just don't feel good. And I'm not saying running is your answer, but I am saying some type of exercise is your answer. And I just started feeling better and better and better. I felt good. I'm different than other people, right? I had some commitment going on that is crazy commitment and consistency. But I felt really, really good.
Did you recognize an improvement in any menopausal symptoms that you might have had? I know you mentioned brain focus and bone health.
Well,
Hmm.
running and I do weight bearing exercises. Okay? Ladies, we lose our muscle. People think if they lift weights, they're gonna look like, something they don't want to. It takes so much to gain muscle once you hit a certain age. That's reality. But as you are doing weight bearing, as you are stretching, all these things that you do for running, you start stretching. A lot of women feel like they're not balanced. It wasn't me. I'm speaking for like symptoms of all women, right? You feel off balance. And that happens. And when you start really doing like yoga, right? And learning how to balance your body, it helps you so that you're not feeling like you're off centered when your stability, you know. Even running, I notice people kind of running to the side sometimes, and I wonder if they have an ear infection. Maybe their balance is off. Maybe that's one of their symptoms. You and I have talked about it. How many symptoms did you say they were of menopause? What did you say? 100 and something?
They're over, I'm hearing over 100. I know of over 42. Those are the ones that I can identify. But I'm hearing that there are over 100. I have to do some more digging. Yeah.
Yes. So I'm just saying, like you can attach, and something else I wanted to say was I was very in tune with my body, and I still am. And one thing I tell people is get to know you and get to know your own body. I did notice that even I was getting like a little something around my waist. And I was like, oh, okay, but be in touch with yourself. I know you are very in touch with yourself. You start seeing things differently because you can go to a doctor and they can say, oh, that's just a symptom. Oh, that's just that, but there are ways to counter everything. You know, your questions when you asked me about what's different, I know that my bone density was one number, and once I started being very consistent, I gained bone mass, which is excellent. So, again, everyone's different, but go to your doctor, check with your doctor, find out all your numbers. Not for me, but for other people that I've talked to and worked with, other women, high blood pressure was something that they got during menopause. Really didn't have high blood pressure. And once they started exercising, now their blood pressure has come back to a normal blood pressure. I just feel that, even though I'm a runner, but I feel that there's so many benefits to exercise in menopause. There's so many. Your bone density is one. Also, like I said, having fragile bones is no joke, that you can slip, you can fall, the next thing you know, you have a broken something. You don't want to break something when you're in your 50s and your 60s. It's a whole different healing than when you were younger. And the other thing that they say that happens is as you get older, you're more apt to have some type of heart problem, high blood pressure, or diabetes type 2. All these things can be countered by working out, keeping your weight at a certain number, and also keeping stress away from your body. I feel very easy, and that was one of my words for this year. I want to only do things with ease. So that's how I have been looking at this whole menopausal condition. I
Condition. That word is
know,
interesting.
I
The
know.
condition. When did you realize that you were in the menopausal phase?
I'd say when I couldn't sleep at night, and then feeling hot, feeling cold, feeling hot, feeling cold. If you're going to sweat anyway, just go ahead and work out and take in that sweat and make it useful. Because sometimes people feel like they can't do anything when they're experiencing hot flashes. Like they feel like their life is over. Working throughout a hot flash is hard for some people, but what is not hard? I always say, well, do something with it. If you know what's going to trigger it, then you got to work around those triggers, or you take those triggers and say, hey, if I wear certain clothing, this is what's going to happen. People run and they have like these ice wraps you can put on. Maybe that's what you need, but don't let it stop you, because it will soon pass. I'm speaking from experience, people. I'm not making this one up. I didn't read about it. Just keep going because you have no choice, right? Life is going to keep life, and you have to just keep going.
Who did you turn to for support during the menopausal process?
I had a great doctor.
What was that like? What was your interaction with your doctor like on the onset of menopause? What did your doctor advise you to do?
I had a Black woman doctor who knew all that you needed to know, was very forward, very helpful, gave suggestions. I would say she listened to whatever I said to her in general about my health, how I was feeling, and she took that time to have conversations with me. There was nothing hidden like, oh, well, I don't know. And that's why I feel like women, you have to find somebody that cares about you. And it's more than textbook. It's like you as a person. And that's how I felt about her. She was a person and she talked to me as a person, as a woman, as this is another stage of life. We also joked about it, which made it, a little lighter than something so heavy. I'm sure there are people who welcome this change. They're like, oh, I can't wait, right?
That
But
was me.
but people but everybody's symptoms are so varied. There are people who have very light symptoms and they're just like, oh, I never had that. I never had a
Mhm.
hot flash, they would say. I've never had night sweats. I never gained weight. I never felt dizzy, ears feeling funny, brain fog, couldn't see, all these things that's going on. Good for you. Bravo.
Yeah, yeah.
But I think that to have someone who makes you feel like you're not crazy, right? Because I'm sure a lot of people have mood swings. You have mood swings when you have, when it's that time of the month. You have mood swings when it's not that time of the month. So I feel like there's so many things coming at you at one time. It is good to really be able to have a doctor who can see through that, experience it, and can talk about it to you.
I love that you said you had a doctor who was present and who was able to help you navigate the process, because that's not the case for everybody. For a lot of women, you hear
A lot.
horror stories when they go to their primary care partners, is what I like to call them, because I do believe it's a partnership.
Hmm.
And so many women struggle to find that partnership with their physicians. And so they are left feeling alone, having to deal with it alone, or left having to seek support somewhere else, whether it's within communities with people experiencing the same thing like they are, or whether it's family and friends, what have you. But so many people feel alone. And that's because a lot of times within the medical community, doctors aren't trained specifically to help people with menopause. It's something that is coming full circle because of women speaking out, because of women sharing their experiences with one another publicly on social media and what have you. So you are one of those fortunate people who had support and had your concerns met with compassion and with empathy, but that's not the case for everyone. So I'm saying this to say, and for those who are listening, to understand that it's not always gloom and doom. Like I said, you do find support. You do have to look for support, which is why community is so important. You
Extremely.
reach out and
Extremely.
ask.
You
Yeah.
know, this whole menopause, perimenopause post has always been like a shroud of secrecy. People would never talk about this. And your mom, your grandmother, you never knew anything. In fact, I mean, they must have been hiding in symptoms because I've never seen a symptom. You know what I mean? Like they had it down to a science, I guess. I guess we need to talk to them again. But it's part of being a woman, right? It's a journey for women, and I think that's probably one of the reasons why it wasn't studied the way that other things are studied because it is women, right? And people would say, "Oh my God, it means you're being old. You're as old as you want to be." This is a natural part of being a woman. I am happy to be a woman. I am happy to go through what women go through because it is part of who I am. I don't want women to think that this is it for them. I'm like, listen, there are lots of things. This is just a new beginning, a new chapter. Yeah, some things are uncomfortable, right? You see women walking around with fans all the time. I just saw a new fan this morning that, no, I did. It's on TV. It goes around your neck and it has two fans here. It's $27. I'm going to buy it just for heat in general, right? And it goes around your neck. It is so cute. We went to that seminar where you have so many women who have started products. There are sheets now that help you to cool off. There are pillowcases. There are all kind of clothing that absorb your sweat. Women need this. You need a special towel. You just hold it in front of you and it just absorbs your sweat. I mean, this is a time I see opportunities everywhere. Women, there are
Yeah.
opportunities. You look at what's going on with you. I guess my major point in all of this is two things. One is it's not the end of the world and there are opportunities. And also, you want to feel healthy while you're going through. And as you go from stage to stage to stage, and that's how I look at it. I look at it like, what can I provide? What can I tell people so that they can feel healthy and still feel beautiful? And this too shall pass, right? So this may last for this amount of time. And it's the same thing I tell people. Once you find out a trigger, go from stage to stage. Some foods are triggers. You may not be able to eat, let's say, onions anymore because it causes you to have a hot flash, or cayenne pepper, or you may not be able to do things. So you start finding out, hey, this doesn't work for me any longer. Maybe I can substitute it, or maybe there's a way I will stop it altogether for now. I just kind of kept navigating to see what was going on. So, listen, what's best? Oh, I need a light cover, but I need my leg hanging off the side of the bed and one arm out. Oh,
I get
yeah,
that.
that feels good. Then that's the answer, okay?
Oh,
That's
I
the
need
answer
to
for
sleep in the
today.
nude.
Yes, that's the
Yeah.
answer for today.
Right, right.
I will never wear a long sleeve shirt again. Okay, well, there's
Never
a
ever.
season for that. There's a season for that. Oh, it's winter, but I don't need a fur coat. No, that's out. Faux fur. That's out the window. So there's some good things here. You change your dressing. Either you go with the sweat, might as well get a workout, or you start swimming. Pick up swimming. Listen, you're not getting a hot flash in the pool, right? So just swim. But you find ways to navigate your life and to change your life so that it still works for you. Why give up a year, 2 years, 3 years, or however this long this lasts? Why give up that time of your life? Change your life. Look for opportunities instead of looking at it as the worst thing ever. Look for opportunities.
Got it. What would you say to women who are struggling through the process? They can't seem to find their way. They want to feel better, but they just don't know how to. How can they bring activities into their lives? It may not be running a marathon, but how can they incorporate activities within their lives so that they can feel better and manage symptoms and ward off things like bone issues or cardiovascular issues or brain issues? What can they do?
Well, I'm glad you asked that question, Dixie. I'm going to start with the first one. Since I used to be a flight attendant back in the day, put the mask over yourself first before you can help others. You could be as busy as anything, right? But you fall out and have a heart attack. Believe me, your job is going to find someone else. I mean, listen, what's important is you. You can't be the best person to somebody else if you're not the best person to yourself. You need to sit down and do a time management study on yourself and see, where do I have time? Do I need to get up 15 minutes early? People think a workout like this. Oh my God, I got to get up. I got to go to the gym. I got to be there for an hour. Da-da. I don't know how to use the machine. None of that has to exist. What you do is first you go to your doctor, get a checkup, make sure you can work out. Second, you decide to do something you like, right? So let's just say that you like jumping rope. Then you invest in whatever materials you need for that. The other thing is preparation, right? So if I'm going to get up, I found the time, okay? I realized that from 5:30 to 6 every morning I have time to work out. I don't have time to drive to a gym, but I could work out in my backyard. I could work out in my small New York apartment. Maybe you have a bicycle you can ride in your apartment. If not, maybe you can do sit ups. Maybe you can do jumping jacks. There are 9 million apps that you can do. There's even free channels on your cable TV. Did you know this? That show you how to do exercises. Oh, yeah, your phone. How about your phone? Just go anywhere, YouTube, 10-minute workout, 10 minutes a day can change your life, 10 minutes a day. The other thing is, how about getting a best friend, accountability partner? They say that people who have a partner work out almost 90% more than people who do not. Because I'll call you, Dixie, I'll see you at 6 o'clock on the Zoom to work out. Yup. And you'll be there. You don't want to disappoint your friend, and prepare. Lay out your clothes the night before. Sometimes us runners, we sleep in our clothes when we have an early race. When we're in another country, we're running a race. We may even sleep in our clothes, shower, sleep in it, get up and get out. Because you want to take away anything that could be a hindrance or an excuse to why you can't do it. If you're not a morning person, then make it a night person, not too close to your bedtime. But hey, if you're having problems sleeping, maybe you want to tire yourself out so you'll be knocked out during this menopausal stage. But there are lots of ways that you can incorporate this into you. Some actual jobs have gyms that they are connected with that you may be able to go on your lunch break, right? They have showers there and everything. But when you want it bad enough, you will find a way to do it. If they said to you, hey, you'll never have cancer, you'll never have diabetes, you'll never have a heart attack, a stroke, or anything else if you work out 20 minutes a day, who wouldn't work out 20 minutes a day? Yet, I can't guarantee it. This is something that can help you ward off the things that I named. I think all of us can do more than we thought we could ever do. That's what running taught me. I never knew I could run. I never knew this. God put this seed in me a long time ago called the running seed. I never knew it existed. What else is inside of each of us that we don't even know? That once we tap into it, it could be a sense of genius. I'm doing it, I'm feeling better, and then I'm tagging another woman. Then she tags another woman. Come and join me. Then she tags another woman. Next thing you know, we have a whole community of Black women, white women, Asian women, whatever, Latino women who are now living their very best lives in the way they feel, in the way they look. We're healthy. A woman will change the world. Then you tell your kids, your kids see mommy working out. Then you have a whole generation of people who are growing up who will be in their best health, mentally and physically. So it's not just, I don't feel like working out. The last thing I want to say on this is the number one thing that you can do is consistency. 10 minutes every single day. Do you know that I've been working out almost 3 years straight? I've never missed a day in 3 years. And it's not always running, it is weightlifting, it is stretching, it is Pilates, it is yoga, you know, every single day. Whether it's raining out or snowing out, it doesn't matter. I'm working out. I have full schedules. I'll get up earlier, say, hey, I'm going to slip this in. I just think it's you have to make yourself a priority.
I do love the perspective of having something inside of you that you didn't know you had, and trying something brought that out. So I feel like that's such great advice for people going through the menopausal stage. It's a very different stage in life. It's a beautiful stage. It's an empowering stage. It's unlike any other stage you've ever been in. And it's a stage where you will be for the rest of your life. So,
Yes.
why not take the opportunity to tap into yourself and activate something that's there? Because I'm sure there's a lot in there that we feel, but we don't explore. So, why don't we just tap in, explore what those sensations are for the things that we want to do, and activate them, get into them, whether it's running or acting or voiceover or flying a plane, roller skating, riding a
Starting
bike,
a
whatever it is.
business, whatever it
Right,
is. This
right,
is what
right.
I think sometimes. I think we underestimate how powerful we are. When you put your mind behind what you can want to do, you can do it. Yes, your body may be changing without your permission, but you have permission to do what you need to do to help along that change and how you see that change as an opportunity to something else.
Right, right. Thank you so much for sharing that. So, you mentioned RF woman at the top of our conversation. Tell us a little bit more about RF woman. What is it?
So, because so many women have been DMing, texting, calling, emailing me, I saw that opportunity that I could serve more people and decided to start a lifestyle brand called RF Woman. It's for women 50 and over, but like I said, the 40-year-olds were knocking at the door. So for women 40 and over,
Before you go on, what does RF stand for?
it can stand for what you want it to stand for. Really
For
fabulous,
example?
Regina Fleming, real
Okay.
funny,
Mhm.
realistically phenomenal with an F.
Okay.
So it's whatever a woman wants to pull out of herself. It
Okay.
happens to
Okay.
be my initials, but hey, we're okay with that. I feel like, as the great Bevy Smith says, it gets greater later. And as it gets greater later, let's indulge in things that will make us feel better. So, whether it's exercise or travel or learning, like your skin changes during menopause. You and I have had talks about skin, meeting new people. I want it to be like this total whirl of a powerful whirl of women of a certain age. I see these things on social media where sometimes people say, "Oh, the women, they're old," or you know. Let me tell you something. Every person in their 20 would love to see 60, to love to see 70, would love to say 50, right? Only the good die young. Well, that's unfortunate. um, I want a place that is community safe, entertaining, as well as intellectually based with women. Whether you're starting a new business and you need someone to talk to, or you're going on a trip and you want somebody else to go along with you. And that's what I decided to pull it all together. It's all started being based around wellness and
Mhm.
fitness,
Mhm.
and there are other aspects of that.
Wonderful. Going back to running, you literally run the world. You have been to several countries running, doing marathons, several cities. You've ran big marathons, you've ran small marathons. What would you tell someone to do to get into running marathons? How can they start
It's baby
the
steps.
process?
It's very baby steps. If you are not a runner, and you say, hey, you know what? I want to push myself and see, maybe there's a seed in me too. You say to yourself, you start off by looking for walking, as I said before. Just walking, getting to know your body again. First thing you do is check with your doctor, get the right sneakers, you start walking. Grab a girlfriend, keep walking. But walk with purpose. Then you start moving on to the next steps, which is a little jogging and walking at the same time, as I said earlier, and you keep going. You look for every almost every community has a running group, and they have all different paces. Somebody might run a 5 minute mile. You may run a 20-minute mile, right? But we call that the sexy pace. Don't think women is one size. Yes, we do see the winners, right? I've run all these races. I came in third in one race, a very small race, mind you. I was so surprised when they said, you third place. I was like, what? A very small race. Usually I come in number 24,693. But who cares? I finished
Right.
and
I
I've done
finished.
it, right? And that's what you have to look at. There are races all over, especially if you live like in the suburbs. They have these little 1 mile races and stuff. Just challenge yourself. You will feel so good about yourself in so many ways. As you start building up your stamina slowly, people come out way too fast. They all of a sudden they buy sneakers, they're like, oh, I'm going to start running. That's how you get injured. It is harder to
Mm.
heal when you're older and you get injured. We don't want to be injured. You take your time. It's a process. Remember what I said, it's consistency, doing the same things over and over again until you keep getting better and better. And you'll feel it. Your body, after you work, when you first walk a mile, your body, you'll be so tired. Or you run a mile, you're so tired. But then after a couple of weeks, you feel like I could go faster. I can go past a mile. Your body will naturally tell you what you can do. And then you may push it just a little. And then you keep gathering from a 5K, which is 3.1 miles, and maybe you go to a 10K, 6.2 miles, and maybe you'll move on and do 8 miles or 10 miles to 12 to 13.1, a half. It's a gradual process. But the point is, I always say, who do you become on that journey? You may start losing the weight that you wanted to lose, or you may be building muscle. Your legs are looking better for you. You may be mentally feeling better, which opens you up to doing all kinds of things. You might decide, I want to start that business now because I have more brain space, right? There's so many opportunities that can happen from you changing your state of mind and changing your state of being.
Were your menopause symptoms on the spectrum? Was it mild, moderate, or severe? I think I know in my head, but why don't you tell us? Were your symptoms mild, severe?
Mild, mild, except for lack of sleep. I felt that was
Okay,
severe, right?
got
I
it.
felt like I didn't sleep for 3 years. That's how I felt.
Mm,
Like I felt like for three
mm.
years I did not sleep, but I read a lot of books, you know,
Which is good. How
watch
are
a
you
lot of
sleeping
TV.
now?
Oh, I have the best mattress ever. Listen,
And would you say that running has something to do with that because you're so diligent, you're so consistent, and you're so committed to working out and running? Do you feel like that's impacted your sleep positively?
that question is a great question. It goes with the question of when people say to me, well, what do you eat? For me, as long as I am training or in training, my life kind of revolves around that. I know that I'm up at like a quarter to 5 in the morning to work out. Then I know I'm going to bed early, right? So by 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock, depending on each day is different because I have my own business. But mentally, I want to be in bed at 8:30, and I turn off all the lights. I turn off everything. And let me tell you, by probably 8:32, I am knocked out. When the alarm
Mm,
goes off and I wake up between 4:45 and 5 o'clock, I wake up like, hey, where's the party? Right? I have gotten all my sleep in. I feel like
got it,
mentally that everything that goes on in your body that you need sleep for has gone on. Right? That chest up is working, my cells are being renewed. I feel like I give my body that respect so that it can do its job properly. So then I can feel
got it.
better. With eating, my eating depends on where I am. If I am training for a race, I eat one way. If I have a race, if I'm not just living as Regina and I don't have a race, like I'm not running another marathon until November. So now I'm just like chilling, I eat a different way.
Got it. Okay. So, what are three self care rituals that you count on daily for
Daily?
your well being?
Oh, okay. Well, aside from going to bed and getting up, that's the only daily thing that I do. I don't think there's anything I do daily. But I'm going to jump in and say, like,
It could be
maybe
consistently, it doesn't have to be daily.
consistently. Okay,
Yeah.
consistently. I get a B12 shot every other week. I'm a vegan. You
Mhm.
can look up B12, and you need B12 because I don't eat meat products, and I always feel really good. I um, enjoy going to get a massage, a sauna. I won't say I enjoy an ice bath, but I realized the difference in recovery after working out really hard. An ice bath makes it happen. And I say the other thing that I like to do is, and that's pretty consistent, is I like to take a bubble bath. I really
Mm,
do. I'm old school. I like to have the bubbles. I like to have it smelling good, the candles, music on. I just woosah. That works for me. That's my thing.
love it. Love it. I want to just touch on something really quickly, something else that you do. You're such a multi hyphenated individual. You do a lot and you do it really well.
Thank
And
you.
you keep yourself informed by simply activating, right? So you activate with your job, you activate with your personal life, you've activated during menopause so that you can feel better. Not saying that you've not felt unwell, but you certainly have a very optimistic mindset that sets the stage for your well being, which I absolutely love because I think optimism is so integral, which leads me to photography. You are an award winning photographer. As a matter of fact, you have won, let's see, how many awards?
9.
9 awards for photography, and you've photographed some pretty famous faces and you've been on magazines, etc. How do you think photography and the art of creativity helps support you during this stage of your life?
Because it's always changing. I don't like boredom, first of all. As a photographer and running a photography business, no 2 days are ever the same day. I can't turn off seeing. I can't. So I'm always hyped, like, oh my God, look at that. I'm walking down the street. Look at that. Oh, look at that. Oh, what's that? Oh, that would be nice to take a photo of later. Oh, how can I incorporate in that? It keeps me going. It keeps my mind always moving. It keeps me to seeing things. I love going to museums. I love going to art shows. I just love going to things that have nothing to do with photography at all, but it shows me. I love interior design. I love beautiful, clean, bright aesthetics. That brings me happiness and joy,
Right,
right?
right.
I think that as women go to their next stages, you need more happiness. When you move to higher stages of your life, we've been working our whole life. Sometimes women are just tired and we need to do make sure things take care of us. Being a photographer to me is not work. I feel like it is part of who I am, being creative, because one thing leads to another. So I'm a photographer. I run a photography business that I love. I'm not an interior designer, but I can take your house and say, move your furniture here and move this here, and your house will look spectacular, right? I crow. I can sew, crochet, knit, but all of this is creative. I'm taking nothing and turn it into something. And I love doing this. It brings me, running brings a runner's high. All of these things bring me a creative high.
Mm,
I like high
mm.
vibrations. Good brain health comes from changing up what you do and doing things to keep that brain moving.
Great. I know some women struggle with taking pictures, especially as they get older, because they're women who are not yet in acceptance of aging. They've not accepted that change. And a lot of women worry about wrinkles and how they look and their changing bodies, etc. And that can be challenging. I mean, I had my own angst about my changing body when I was a teenager after having my daughter at 19, and I had stretch marks on my belly. I didn't get over that until like my early 40s. I'd say like 40 is when I really came to terms with the beauty of my body. And so I know women are struggling. I've spoken to women who are struggling and they're like, I don't like to take pictures. I just don't look good in the camera and I'm not doing this. Not that they don't want to, they want to, but they won't because they are insecurities around how they look. What would you say to these women to help them bust out of that shell and release that thinking so that they can step into who they are and learn to love and accept and appreciate themselves fully, no matter what they look like? What would you tell them?
That's a great question because I encounter that all the time. That's part of the reason why, another reason why RF Woman would exist. I do have a photography division of it because I think that all women need to have a little bit of vanity and they need to fall in love with themselves again. And because of that, because I hear all kinds of stories, on my end, this is what I get. So and so always told me I had a big nose, or I don't even look in the mirror anymore because I gained weight. And I have to coach them from ground zero. It's very hard to photograph someone when they don't want to be there, when they're uncomfortable. The camera picks up everything. My way of working through this is I coach them before they even arrive at my studio. So we go through who you are, really, who are you? And we talk about, how you feel about yourself. And is it true? What you're saying about yourself, is that true? And once we work through this, I call it soul work. And once we work through all of this, by the time they arrive, they are so excited. They have picked out the clothing, their hair, the makeup. We have everything going. They're so excited to be there. And then they're very pliable, right? I was a former model, so I really know how to make women look good in front of any camera. I have taught a small seminar called How to Look Good in Front of Any Camera. And it's just leading and getting to know you. I said this in the beginning about menopause, about running. Everything is on you. Just like in being in front of a camera, get to know your body. If your arms are your greatest asset, then we're going to have all sleeveless tops. Let's work those arms. So it's really falling in love with you, finding the parts of you that you really like and putting those front. And then we gently take the other parts and we make those parts quite lovely too. I would say that for the person to look at old photos of themselves and say, what did I like about this? Sometimes it has nothing to do with a weight or something. It's where they were in their life, how they felt about living. So it's there's some psychology along with some just deep self introspection as well as learning how to move in front of the camera. And then I've been a photographer for 22 years. I have never had a person who left me and didn't feel transformed.
Right, right. Thank you so much, Regina, because it's important for us to pour into one another. It's important to share our perspectives and share our stories and share our lessons that we've learned along the way because so many people share their lessons with me and I'm learning, this is a process, it's a journey and postmenopause is where we will be for the rest of our lives.
The rest of
And
our lives. Yay.
within postmenopause, there are stages. Hey. And like I was talking to a friend yesterday and I said, like this is a time for us to wind up, not wind down.
There
And
you go.
we're not down and out, we're up and in, right?
That's
So
it.
we have to really embrace that and embody that and appreciate the sacredness and the wholeness of menopause and what that means
And the
for us.
opportunities that it
Yeah.
brings.
Do you want to share with us any projects you might have coming up, or what can we expect to see from you, Regina Fleming, RF woman, Regina the photographer, in the coming months? What's going to be good in you?
Oh my gosh. There are quite a few projects. Some I can't say because I had to sign an NDA. Life did not end. As you said, we'll be in this state for a long time, very, very long. And I'm making the best of it. So I'm working on my own book on running and wellness. I'm looking forward to having a retreat, and I'm looking forward to speaking on a couple of stages on wellness for women over 40 and some other races that I have that are coming up. So it's a whirlwind of things that I enjoy and things that also can serve and help my community. And it's exciting. It's very
Yeah.
exciting.
Yeah.
Yay.
Well, I'm sure running the world is a whirlwind. So, where can our listeners find you and connect with you?
So they can email me at hello@reginafleming.com. They can join the community at www.rfwoman.com. And if they want any coaching, hello@reginafleming.com. Drop me a message and I will contact you.
Social medias?
On the social media, Instagram is my jam, and that is I am Regina Fleming. And for my photography, you can visit me at Regina Fleming Photography.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Regina, for sharing with us. I know we can go on
Thank
and
you
on
for
and we can talk
having
for a
me.
long
We can
time.
talk forever. Okay.
Yeah, you are an inspiration,
No, you're an
and you
inspiration.
running the world certainly sets a stage and certainly allows women to see the possibilities and ways in which they can activate their lives. I thank you so much for sharing your journey with us.
And I'm going to thank you for having me and thank you for having this platform where you're showing women that it is great to be in any stage. It may be hard for them, but there is a light at the end of the tunnel. Just keep focused on what you're doing because you're changing women one podcast at a time.
Thank you so much. Thanks everyone for listening. I'll see you on the next podcast. Let's perimenopause and prosper.